One more for you. You had a clip from Friday, I believe, on the sheet with Jeff Merrick talking about the Oilers and Maple Leafs, and we've done a lot of talk about Bobby McMann. Bobby McMann, what a fit he'd be. But you kind of pointed out a couple of other names, and the one that really piqued our interest was Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I see a lot of people in the chat interested in this as well, saying, throw a Mangiapane and a pick for OEL. Like, if the Leafs trade OEL... This is like they're selling high, right? Like that's the whole point, is that OEL ain't coming cheap to whoever wants to acquire them.
Yeah, and to reiterate what I told Jeff on the sheet, they have, to my knowledge, up until that point, they haven't spoken about Bobby McMann. Mm-hmm. Now, two guys that, based on what the Oilers are out there looking for, two guys that I would imagine they have interest in are Nick Waugh and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. That's what I said, so I'm just reiterating that. As for OEL, no, they're not. They're not going to. The Leafs aren't trading him for Mangiapane and a pick. So sorry, that's not going to happen. You're probably looking at. Everyone's going to lose it, but probably like an Ike Howard in a deal in order to get OEL out of Toronto. Like it's going to be a high price to get him because it's a combo of his cap hit, it's a combo of the term that's there, and the fact that he's really good, or at least this season he's been really good. So. If it gets to that point, expect it to be a larger type of deal. You're not just pawning off Mangiapane to Toronto because the kid's from there. It's just not. I don't see that aligning with respect to that. Now, as for what they actually talked about, as I said on the sheet, I don't know what the specifics are, but those are two players in Waugh and OEL that, based on again what the Oilers are looking for out there, somebody in the mid-6 that's responsible at both ends of the ice, more so on the defensive side, and then. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who can move the puck, but he's modified his game to being more responsible defensive. He's been the Leafs' best defenseman this season, hands down. And I think there would be a number of teams that would have interest in him. Now, one thing that I haven't fully clarified yet is that the belief is that he's got a 16-team no-trade list. But some people have told me he has a 10-team trade list. So I haven't been able to confirm either or 100% yet. But there is some no-trade protection. Bottom line, he'll have some say if he does end up getting moved. But based on where the Leafs are at, the fact that they won 3 in a row gives them a little bit extra to think about there too. So we'll see kind of where that goes. And I'm sure they'll have continued conversations over the course of this break. And we'll see if anything actually comes to it. But the Oilers are out there. They're looking. And I don't think they're looking for a top 6 guy. I think they're looking for defensively responsible assets that they can add to this group to help out the goaltender that everybody's chirping as shit. But he's not.
I get that people are a little bit thrown off by his whole, like, you might have to include Ike Howard in that kind of a deal.
Yeah.
I don't think people should be that surprised to hear Howard's name as something the Oilers might have to dangle to make a legitimate impact ad. And like Dave said, OEL's been Toronto's best defenseman. Mm-hmm. You're not prying a team's best defenseman with 2 more years on a pretty reasonable deal, $3.5 million for OEL. You're not prying that guy out of there for mid-round picks and cap dumps or Quinn Hudson even. Like, you're getting that guy out of there if you give up something that legitimately makes Toronto think. If Toronto doesn't get a decent offer, if OEL was a rental, I'd be sitting here saying, yeah, you're going to trade a 2nd-round pick and you're going to get the guy. Mm-hmm. And maybe you pay a bit more than that because it's retention. If you're trying to get a guy with term and you don't offer something good, Toronto will just sit there and say, okay, we'll wait till the summer. And then if no one gives us a good offer, we'll wait till next deadline. Or we'll be good again next year and we want to keep OEL around. Like, Clapper says, you do that for a Robert Thomas, not OEL or McMahon. Jesus effing whatever. Okay, if you want Robert Thomas, we're now also no longer talking about Ike Howard or just Ike Howard. We're talking about Matt Savoy's. We're talking about multiple first-round picks. Like, and you do a lot more of this work than I do, looking back into like past deals and things of that nature. But like, let's go back to the Brock Nelson trade, everybody. That was a rental. And it cost them Cal Ritchie, who was considered one of the better prospects in the hockey world. And it didn't just cost Cal Ritchie. It cost Cal Ritchie in a first-round pick. Again, pure rental. Like, the top-end premium rental names on the market are going to cost you multiple high-end assets. And the other thing I'll add is, as a fan base, you always value your prospects way higher than another team does.
I think if you want to compare it to a trade, which was from the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's the Brandon Carlo deal, which was Fraser Minten, who wasn't their best prospect.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously had Easton Cowan, second, third, whatever you want to call him. He's obviously now in the NHL full time. First round pick, fourth round pick, and 15% retained on Carlo.
Yep.
I don't think it will end up being Ike Howard. I think we always kind of hear this in the sense of like, this is what the team wants, and then they kind of come down, they balance it out.
But Minten was a better prospect than Howard. A little bit more green because he hadn't played in the NHL yet, but I don't think Ike Howard's 20 games in the NHL would have a team clamoring for him or anything like that. Like Fraser Minton's was a very, very legit prospect.
Well, I think they were both legit.
Both legit.
They're the same age, same draft.
Yeah.
Howard went higher than Minten in the draft.
Yeah, sure. We'll call them similar then, or same.
They're similar prospects. Yep. I think in the sense of is Ike Howard the Oilers' best current prospect? Depends how you value Savoy.
Yeah.
Maybe in the same realm. I think Andrew's got a point. Is like that trade was awful for the Leafs, which could help the Oilers in the sense of like, we're not doing this. Like how poorly it went for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ekman-Larsson's a bit older as well, 34 years old. I personally wouldn't be willing to give up Howard in that deal because I don't know what 35-year-old Ekman-Larsson looks like. And that would be my worry. Strictly on age of Larson, I think he's a very good player, and I think he could help the Oilers, but I'd be looking to bring that price down quite a bit.
I would not be calling Toronto to offer Ike Howard. I would be calling Toronto and saying, here's a first, here is insert someone else from our system, anyone but Howard and Savoy. And if Toronto came and said, no, we really want, like if Toronto called me and said, we want to try to get Ike Howard from you, what's it going to take? The way I would try to go back to Toronto and say, okay, you want Ike Howard? Well, like he's not untouchable. I'm not sitting here saying I'm never
either.
I would be going to Toronto and saying, okay, then Bobby McMahon is coming to Edmonton.
Yeah, that's how I would look at it too, because then Bobby McMahon just takes like Howard's spot in the roster next
and he's
season.
29, so you'll get him for a few years. Hopefully you sign him to a decent deal, because I know that, again, would be a plus of Ike Howard panning out in your top six, is that he's cheap for a few seasons. But if Toronto said, like, we want Ike Howard, what can we do? I would say, okay, first up, it's Bobby McMahon. Okay, good. And then I'd say, and then we're having a conversation about OEL, and you're keeping money. Yeah.
Someone puts in there, Kevy said 2 years ago he was a buyout player, tread carefully, he may not be a good fit. I mean, Gustav Forsling was a waiver pickup.
Yeah.
Kapanen, we spoke about it yesterday, and everyone wanted him re-signed. He's a
waiver pickup.
He's a waiver pickup. Yep. Like, these things happen. Like, Philip Gustafsson, he was looking to be bought out.
Yeah.
Tristan Jarry.
Philip Gustafsson, they offered him to the whole league, and the whole league said no, and now he's going to be starting for Sweden at the Olympics.
I think
things change.
OEL also had Canucks disease.
Yeah.
The moment he left, he became a stud.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't playing top pairing minutes.
Well, Vancouver's just the place players go to die.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I see what you're saying, Kevin. I think that's a very valid point, to be fair. But I think he's had 3 years now of being like, this guy's back. Actually, I shouldn't say back. Mm-hmm. I think he's rounded out his game a lot more and become more of a complete defenseman. I like him. I'd be more than willing to like figure out something. But yeah, if I was putting Howard in the deal, I'd be figuring out a way to get McMahon back to fill the spot for next season.
Yeah.